Hello friends, I'm pleased to welcome you to this video series where we'll answer specific queries from customers on how to effectively use eCAAT. We know eCAAT is a tool which can be used to audit digital data. One of the primary benefits of using eCAAT is you can do more in less time using data analytics. You can audit voluminous data and do much more effective audit using eCAAT. eCAAT, as you know, is an add-in tool to Excel. Let's have a brief recap of what are the essential steps in using data analytics. This slide gives you the 9 steps systematic approach for using eCAAT. The first step is to identify and document the scope and objectives of the audit or the assignment. It's important to know why are you doing the assignment. What is the specific area you're going to cover? Second, you need to identify what is the specific information which will be required to address the audit scope and the audit objectives. Based on this, you should collect the data from the client in the required digital format. In the case of eCAAT, you can get the data in Excel format. Review the data to understand what each column in the file represents and how it might be relevant in performing the audit. It's important to know what are the business rules pertaining to each of the fields of audit. For example, if there's a purchase order, the rules of the purchase order could be it has to be non-repetitive, it has to be sequential, and the company has a specific format in which the purchase order is given. So the purchase order has to follow the specific format. Review and curate the data and format the header row for the file to make it ready for data analytics. For using data in data analytics using eCAAT, it's important that the first row is the header row and the data is formatted in such fashion. I'll show you example a little later. Confirm that the data is complete by comparing the statistics from the data analytics software and the original source of data or software. There are specific functions in eCAAT such as column statistics and column properties. You can use that to verify the completeness of data in terms of the number and the value for each of the fields, so that before doing the analytics, you know that the data you received is correct and complete and relevant. Understand the business process and the controls relevant for the audit, because fundamentally you are using data analytics for the purpose of auditing the business processes or the relevant controls, whether working as envisaged. 7. Identify and document the audit tests to be performed and the functions of data analytics software which can be used. For example, you'd like to identify the set of data in terms of the number and the value. So you can use the function called classify. Or let's say you'd like to summarize or group the sales based on the value. Then you can use the function called summarize. Or you'd like to have MIS pertaining to the sales based on the date. Then you can use the MIS function. So it's important that you document in advance the various steps and the audit steps you're going to perform, and then you'll be able to use the relevant audit functions. eCAAT is versatile in terms of its features it offers. So you can perform multiple functions in diverse ways. So it's important to know very clearly what is that you are looking for. 8. You perform the test using the data analytics software. In the case of eCAAT, you can also use Excel as required, and then you can analyze the reports. You need to remember one important thing, that the data analytics software can process the data, but inferring insights is the job of the auditor. And then finally, you have to document the findings and present the report. There are 4 key factors in doing assurance using eCAAT. First, you need to understand the business process. You need to understand the specific regulatory requirements. You need to understand the organizational structure, and you also need to understand the technology deployed. And this is not from the point of expertise, but from the point of functional understanding, so that you can audit the data as required. There are 7 key controls or factors which you have to consider while doing a financial statement audit. For example, you'd like to review the completeness of the data. You'd like to review the accuracy of the data. You may like to review the validity of the data. You may like to look at authorization levels in terms of segregation of duties. you will like to do review of the presentation, the disclosure requirements, or you may also like to look at the cutoff period, whether all the transactions which have been accounted in the year are belonging to that particular year. So you need to remember that CAATs can be used for testing controls of compliance. It can also be used for testing details, or also called as substantial testing. Now let me summarize the discussion we had so far and say what are the 7 steps for performing data analytics. First, get the data ready for data analytics. I'll show you examples a little later. Make a copy of the files and perform analysis on copy of the data. Always retain a copy of the files. There are some functions in eCAAT in which you cannot undo. So it's better that you make a copy of the files and perform all the analysis on the copy of the files. As I said, it's important to get the data ready for audit. Most of the time when you get the data, it may not be in the structured format. You can use the specific function called harmonize sheet to get the data ready by ensuring that the headers are in the right format for the purpose of analysis. For example, if it's a PO number, you need to check whether the PO number is alphanumeric or it's numeric. Based on that, you need to assign it the right format. You need to document the field description and the related rules. For each of the fields, what are the business process rules? If you know that, then it becomes easier to test the business rules and the related controls. Quite often when you get data from a software and that is exported to Excel, you will find a lot of fields which are standard fields which are available in that particular software, and many of the fields may not be relevant for your audit. So it's important that you delete the files which are not relevant so that the data can be processed much more faster and your focus is on only the fields which you want to audit. Review the field for formats and change it to the required format as required. And finally, as I said, you need to remember that eCAAT can perform the function, but the user has to know how to select the right function and the fields to draw inference from the results. So the bottom line in using eCAAT is you can infer insight from information. eCAAT is a tool of data analytics. Like they say, eCAAT is audit ka सारथी, audit ke साथ भी or audit ke बाद भी, which means it can use eCAAT while doing the audit, and it also documents the audit done so that it's available to you as a documentation tool and also for peer review in the future. So please see the next video where I'll get into specific queries and also demonstrate how you can use specific functions of eCAAT and also respond to the specific queries which were received from a client. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.